What is up? What it do, cyber world? It's your girl Ash Brown, and this is the Ash Brown Uncensored Show. On this program, I talk a little bit about everything. It may be pop culture related. It may be Ash Brown related. You just got to stay tuned to see what I'm going to talk about. All right, so I was on Twitter today, and I had someone that posed a question that asked me about being a flight attendant and what reserve life is like. So I was like, you know what? That's a pretty good segue for me to talk about a little bit about a reserve life on a commercial airline. So when you are a flight attendant for a commercial airline, meaning like domestic, USA, international, whatever the case is, anywhere that you're taking the general public, you're going to be on reserve to a certain extent. Some companies, you're on reserve for 30 days, the full 30 days. You will not know where you're going, when you're going to be there. And you may know your off days, but you're not going to know a schedule. You're not going to know a schedule. So some companies, you're on reserve just all the time until you're not, essentially. Until your seniority kicks in, and then you're given a line, meaning you're given a set schedule every single month, and you know what your schedule is, you know where you're going to be, you know what time to be there, and all those different things. You can plan around it. Some companies will do a rotation of 1 month you're on reserve, another month you're on a line, the next month you're on reserve, the next month you're on a line. They do that. That's really good. And other companies have like a set number of reserve days a month, like maybe 6 days a month you're on reserve, but all the other times you basically know your schedule. And yeah, that's what reserve life is like. Just giving you like a broad overview. I'm not telling you everything about it, obviously. Most companies, you're going to have 12 hours you're on call, 12 hours you're off. So the company that I used to work for, we would be on a set schedule of 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Typically, if you got a trip, they would try their best, so they said, they would try their best to notify us at least 24 hours beforehand, just so that we could plan ahead and we can kind of know the best route of moving about. And yeah, sometimes you would get those calls at 3 a.m. Hey, you got a 2-hour call out. Be at the airport. Be ready for this trip to Detroit, or Chicago, New Jersey. You just have to be ready for it. You have to be on call, and you have to really be committed to it. And I've said this before, flight attendant job is not for everyone. Everyone cannot do it. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's not an easy job. There are a lot of responsibilities that go through it really. And with my experience, the most important thing that I got out of it is the job is about safety. It's about keeping your passengers safe, but more importantly, keeping yourself safe so that you can actually help your passengers. And when I went through training, there were a lot of people that got let go, a lot of people that were released from training because they weren't taking it serious. Being a flight attendant is way more than passing out snacks and painting a smile on first thing in the morning. It's a lot more than that. There's a lot that goes into it. And people don't really get that, I guess, probably because it's been an industry that in recent years, it's a little bit more open than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. So people get a lot more insight now, and now we've got YouTube. So people are vlogging about their flight attendant careers and their experiences. So it's a lot more open now than it's ever been before. But for me, the main point of the job is safety. Safety, safety, safety. And like I said, reserve, you have to be ready for anything. You got to be ready. If you're on, depending on, for an example, with my old company, we would have blocks. So I may have a 4-day block, I may have a 5-day block, and I may have a 6-day block. on that 6-day block, from the time that the clock strikes midnight until 11:59 that on the fifth day, I was on call. So I was on call for 12 hours. So anywhere within those 12 hours, if they decide, hey, we need you, you got to be up and ready for the airport. Now, commuting is a whole nother beast. And this would sometimes get a lot of people in trouble and unfortunately cost some people their jobs, because technically wherever you're based out of, say you're based out of Chicago, all of your trips will originate out of Chicago. The only time that your trip won't originate out of Chicago is if they need to deadhead you to another city to fill in for somebody else or whatever the case is. So if you are based in Chicago, when they call you for that 2-hour call out, you better not be in Orlando chilling with your boyfriend or hanging out with the crew, because you've got 2 hours to get to Chicago's airport to start that trip. So a lot of people would get into issues, and I know a couple of people that were released from the position because they weren't following protocol. Reserve life is serious. Reserve life is stressful because you don't really know when you're going to be called or if you're going to be called. And for me, as the pandemic loomed over us, I was not called for work for about 3 months. That was rough. That was really, really freaking rough. Sitting around and not being called. It got to the point so bad that I called crew scheduling. I was like, hey, did you remember about your girl? Because I am still here. I hadn't changed my number. I wanted to make sure that y'all still had my number. And so that was that. But yeah, reserve life, it's not for the faint-hearted. A lot of people quit typically within a month or two of reserve because it is very strenuous. If you're trying to be at all the housewarmings and the birthday parties and the weddings and all that stuff, a reserve flight attendant, you're not going to be able to commit to that stuff because your work comes first. You got to go wherever your company needs you. And unfortunately for some people, that's just not a doable thing. So going back to my original point, the flight attendant job is not for everybody. It's just not. So that's my little tidbit for the day. I may share some more stories and instances and examples of my flight attendant experience in commercial air, because it was quite the experience. Yeah, that's it. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for all the love and support, all of the continued love and support. I appreciate it beyond words. And if you're not already following me across social media at OneLoveAsh, the number 1, LOVEASH. And I'm going to holler at y'all later. Have a great, prosperous, wonderful, fantabulous week. And I'll see y'all next week.